Wcbi News at 9 on CW4 starts now.
At least one person had to be flown to an area hospital after a serious car crash in Lowndes County. Thanks for joining us tonight at 9 o'clock. At least 3 vehicles were involved in that accident. It happened just after 5 o'clock this evening. You can see here crews had to pull one of those vehicles out of a ditch. Now, this crash happened in the eastbound lanes on Airport Road. Right now, it's unclear exactly how many people were injured and how many had to be taken to the hospital. We do know at least one person was flown to a hospital with critical injuries. The Mississippi Highway Patrol is investigating that crash. This morning, icy conditions on roads and bridges are likely the cause of dozens of accidents across North Mississippi. This was the scene on Highway 82 in Lowndes County just after 8 o'clock. Troopers worked accidents at the Highway 45 interchange in both the east and westbound lanes. One wreck involved at least 3 vehicles. MHP spokesperson Derek Beckham says that troopers worked 16 accidents in the Golden Triangle today. They also responded to several incidents involving cars that ran off the road and needed assistance. No fatalities or serious injuries were reported. A Columbus man is accused of shooting a gun at a house. 28-year-old Quinn Wiley is now charged with shooting into a dwelling. His bond is set at $40,000. Wiley was arrested last week. Columbus police have not released any information about the shooting arrest. Wiley remains in jail. In New Albany, police there searching for an armed robbery suspect. Officers need help finding Wcbi Finley. Well, Finley's wanted in connection to a November 25th robbery that happened on Buncombe Street. The victim in the robbery says after leaving a gas station, he was robbed at gunpoint. The suspects took the victim's cell phone, cash, and a gun from his car. If you have any information on Finley or the crime, call Crime Stoppers. That number, 1-800-773-TIPS. A teenager accused of intimidating a witness turns himself in. 18-year-old DeKylan Malone is charged with 1 count of intimidating a witness. He turned himself into the Lowndes County Sheriff's Department today. Now, Malone is also accused of shooting into an occupied dwelling. That shooting happened back in March in Crawford. Malone is now accused of making threats against a witness in that case. A local investor believes the vote by Amory residents to allow the sale of alcohol in the city limits will have a big impact on commercial development. Riley Martin has more from the businessman planning to give new life to an iconic landmark in the city the railroad helped build.
I'm probably gonna have to make one.
Orrin Hawley officially became the owner of the Old Park Hotel in downtown Amory Tuesday morning. That evening, he was getting calls and text messages from people who heard about his plans to transform the property into upscale apartments, a restaurant, and grill.
I was surprised that I got 68 texts last night asking about what was going on and about rentals, yes.
The day of his closing fell on the same day Amory residents voted to approve the sale of beer, light wine, and alcohol in city limits.
Regardless if the vote had passed for alcohol, we had a very good investment here with having the restaurant and the things we wanted to do for the city of Amory and the business here on Main Street. We feel like it's an icon being here in Amory for so long. 1926 when the building was built, and we feel like it was a staple of the community. The alcohol we feel like is going to boost revenue for us, and we feel like it's definitely going to be a plus.
The realtor who listed the Old Park Hotel and who will act as property manager for the Park Hotel Apartments believes Tuesday's vote, coupled with the renovation of the historic building, will attract even more interest from developers and investors to the downtown area.
We've got great leaders in our community who are going to set rules and regulations in place to make this a successful venture for people. I think that people are looking for some place to go. They're looking for a nice restaurant to be able to sit down and have a great meal, to entertain, and I think it will be a positive asset to Amory.
Hawley wants to have the first floor restaurant and possibly the second floor grill open in time for the Railroad Festival in April. In Amory, Allie Martin, WCBI News.
The 1- and 2-bedroom apartments could be ready by next January.
A lot of sunshine out there today. Here's our time lapse from Durham's Pharmacy in Vernon, Alabama. Look at all that blue sky. What a gorgeous day we had. No wintry weather concerns at all for our day Wednesday. Temperatures are cooling on down. We've got some low 30s to mid 30s out there, and it looks like we'll fall a few more degrees as we go throughout the course of the night. Upper 20s in many places here, so a little bit of patchy frost certainly possible once again. For tomorrow, your Thursday, a sunny start. Clouds will gradually increase, and we will likely become overcast tomorrow evening, but overall a pretty nice day for us. Temperatures in the 50s. Rain showers closer to the coast, and those rain showers move up here as we get into Friday. We'll talk about it coming up.
The House Judiciary Committee is holding a nighttime debate on the articles of impeachment against President Trump. If the charges of abuse of power and obstruction of Congress are passed, they'll go to the floor of the House for a full vote. Natalie Brand reports from Capitol Hill.
The House Judiciary Committee is working late into the night with Democrats and Republicans clashing over the two articles of impeachment against President Trump.
One indisputable truth has emerged. If we do not respond to President Trump's abuses of power, the abuses will continue.
Two articles like that? Abuse of power and obstruction of Congress in 70-something days. The only abuse of power here is the majority racing the fastest they've ever had, the clock in the calendar determining what impeachment looks like.
The first article of impeachment alleges President Trump openly and corruptly urged Ukraine to publicly announce investigations into his political opponent, former Vice President Joe Biden. The second article of impeachment accuses the president of directing the unprecedented, categorical, and indiscriminate defiance of the House investigation. As the Judiciary Committee continues its work tomorrow, members can propose amendments, but with Democrats controlling the committee, passage is all but certain. The final step before a full House vote.
It's not just because they don't like the president. They don't like us. They don't like the 63 million people who voted for this president. All of us in flyover country.
If the president had not abused his power, if everything he did was truly perfect, he would have asked, no, he would have demanded that everyone who works for him come forward and tell the truth.
With the Democratic House expected to take a final vote on impeachment next week, Republican Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell said a possible trial will be their first order of business at the start of the year. Natalie Brand, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
President Trump met with House leadership this afternoon. The White House has been playing up Republican unity. An update to the ongoing U.S.-China trade war we've been following since last year. China is starting to buy more U.S. soybeans, but farmers say they won't rest until they see a new trade deal confirmed. Courtney Ann Jackson explains.
Christmas could come early for some soybean farmers, but they're cautiously optimistic as they await what they hope will be an upcoming trade deal.
China first imposed the tariffs on U.S. soybeans in the summer of 2018. Farmer Danny Murphy says the latest update is adding a little optimism on top of a lot of frustration.
I imagine most farmers are like me. They're just kind of in limbo waiting to see what happens.
And a deal would make a difference for his bottom line.
Prices were already low when this started, and they've continued to trend down. China was our largest trading partner for soybeans.
The Mississippi Farm Bureau president explains just how much of a hit farmers like Murphy are taking.
We lost about 20 to 25% of our market since the tariffs have been instituted. So we're looking forward to the end of this trade dispute and getting a market that we can rely on.
As for this year's crop of soybeans, a lot of them haven't been exported.
They're pretty much in grain bins. A lot of our guys are hoping to see better markets because a lot of those soybeans and corn that are in the bins are on the farm storage are there right now at a loss for last year.
Murphy is among those waiting.
I talked about holding on to some of my soybeans. I think everyone, you get your hopes up and you think, well, if they sign a trade deal, you know, soybeans will go up 50 cents or $1, and you hate to sell today and they sign a deal the 15th and they go up.
Mississippi has sought alternate trade deals with countries like Taiwan, but Murphy says it isn't enough to fully make up for not trading with China. Courtney Ann Jackson, WCBI News.
Up next, the CDC issues new numbers in flu cases across the U.S., what local doctors say it looks like in our area.